Kate Donovan stood in the ceremonial circle under a harvest moon that seemed to mock her with its fullness. The entire Shadowpine pack pressed in around the ancient stones, their faces lit by torchlight, their eyes hungry
You
for
must
the
understand the
spectacle
gravity
they'd
of
been
this.
promised.
I
She
can't
wore
do
the
this.
traditional
You have
white
no
dress
choice.
her mother had worn her grandmother before that lace and silk that whispered against her skin with every shallow breath. Her blonde hair had been woven with silver ribbons by women who'd smiled while they worked knowing what was coming. Her father stood at the edge of the circle in his enforcer's uniform, the one with the Marine Corps insignia still visible beneath the pack symbols he'd been forced to add after his discharge. 22 years of service to his country, and now he guarded werewolves in rural Montana, because that's what you did when the wolf blood ran true and the human world couldn't contain what lived beneath your skin. His jaw was set like he was back in Fallujah waiting for the ambush he could smell, but couldn't see. Travis Kendrick stood across from her wearing ceremonial leather that made him look like every other young beta trying too hard to project strength. 28 years old, all muscle and ego, the kind of wolf who measured his worth in fights, won, and Omegas conquered. His voice cut through the murmur with volume meant to ensure everyone heard. I, Travis Kendrick, son of council member Raymond Kendrick, reject you, Kate Donovan, as my mate. The words hit like a physical blow, even though she'd been expecting them. The incomplete bond between them began to tear, feeling like someone was pulling her chest cavity open from the inside. You're a virgin at 23 years old. That's not purity. That's not honor. That's failure to understand what a real alpha needs from his mate. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Kate heard Melissa Hartley's high-pitched giggle, saw Jacob Morrison nudge his brother. Travis stepped closer, playing to his audience. I need a mate who knows how to please me, who understands what happens in the marriage bed before we get there. I need a woman, not a scared girl, playing at being one. Kate's father moved forward, his hand going to the weapon at his belt before he remembered where he was. She saved herself for her mate. That's what honor. That's naivety, enforcer Donovan. Travis cut him off with casual disrespect. I don't want naive. I want experienced. I want someone who can satisfy an alpha's needs without a training manual. More laughter. Kate felt it wash over her like acid. But she wasn't going to give Travis the satisfaction of watching her crumble. She drew herself up to full height the way her father had taught her during those early morning runs when he'd trained her like she was one of his Marines. Then I'm glad I waited. Would have been a waste on you. The laughter died like someone had cut its throat. Travis's face darkened, the easy smile vanishing into something uglier. The bond finished tearing with a sensation like vital organs being ripped out. Kate's knees buckled. She went down hard, tasting blood where she'd bitten through her lip, trying not to scream. Her younger sister Jordan appeared in her swimming vision, pulling her upright with desperate strength. I've got you. Come on, Kate. Let's go home. As they passed through the crowd, Kate's blurred vision caught on Vanessa Monroe standing near the front, her arm threaded through Travis's. The pieces snapped into place with brutal clarity. Vanessa Monroe, 26 Omega, with a reputation that had made the rounds through every pack in the territory. Travis had been sleeping with her for months. The rejection hadn't been about Kate's inadequacy. It had been about him wanting a public excuse to be with the Omega he'd already chosen. Kate filed that information away in the tactical part of her brain, the part her father had trained to stay cold even when everything else was burning. 4 days later, Alpha Brennan's summons came. His office smelled like old leather and older money. You're exiled, Kate Donovan. Your presence is damaging to pack cohesion and your father's authority. Kate had prepared herself for this, but hearing it out loud still felt like being struck. I'll need supplies. 2 weeks' worth of food, water, basic survival gear. You'll get nothing. Brennan's voice was flat. You want to survive out there, you figure it out yourself. Something cold settled into Kate's chest, pushing out the fear and leaving only calculation behind. Assess the threat. Identify available resources. Formulate a plan. Then I'll take nothing. And when I survive anyway, you'll know I never needed you in the first place. She left before sunrise, walking away from the only home she'd ever known, with everything she owned on her back. Her father had laid out everything she'd need: military-grade backpack, tactical clothing, compass, fire-starting, kit knife with a 6-inch blade, water purification tablets. Jordan pressed $600 into her jacket pocket. You're worth more than Travis could ever see. Don't let them make you believe otherwise. The first week was hardest. Kate traveled north, staying to game trails, avoiding main roads. She foraged for edible plants and supplemented with survival bars when she couldn't find enough. By the second week, her supplies were running critically low, and her body was starting to feel strange. Skin too sensitive, temperatures spiking, a restlessness building that no amount of hiking could burn off. She knew what was coming. Your first heat typically hits somewhere between 22 and 25. Kate had avoided hers longer than most, possibly because the incomplete bond with Travis had confused her body's signals. Now alone in the wilderness with no pack and no mate, her first heat was about to arrive. Kate found the cabin on the 14th day. It sat in a small clearing, the kind of structure hunters built decades ago and then abandoned. The roof was intact, the door hung crooked but functional. Most importantly, it was in unclaimed territory, no pack scent markers nearby. She spent 2 hours making it defensible, barricaded the door with everything movable, checked all windows, found a heavy branch outside that could serve as a weapon. Only after securing the perimeter did Kate acknowledge how bad the heat symptoms were getting. Her skin felt like it was on fire, her clothes unbearable against oversensitized nerve endings. She stripped down to her underwear, but the evening air coming through gaps in the cabin walls seemed to make everything worse. She lay down on the bare mattress, trying to remember what she'd been taught about heat cycles. During heat, an omega's body prepared itself for mating. Scent production increased exponentially, designed to attract alphas from miles away. The omega would experience intense physical need, a desperation for touch that could override rational thought. Most omegas went through their first heat with a mate present. Going into heat alone in the wilderness was essentially a death sentence. The heat wave hit like a tsunami. One moment Kate was lying on the mattress, uncomfortable but functional. The next, her back was arching off the bed, her hand clawing at the sheets, every nerve ending screaming for relief. The emptiness between her thighs became unbearable, her body slick with need. Kate's hand moved between her thighs without conscious thought. Her fingers found wetness, found the swollen bundle of nerves that sent lightning through her when she touched it. She'd never masturbated before, had been taught that self-pleasure was shameful, that good omegas waited for their mates. But her mate had rejected her, and her body didn't care about shame anymore. Kate's fingers circled her pearl, clumsily trying to find the rhythm that would ease the pressure. She found the entrance to her body, pushed one finger inside, gasped at how easily it slid in despite her virginity. She added a second finger, whimpering at the stretch. The third finger was almost too much, burning as she forced it in, but the fullness was closer to what her heat demanded. Her hips moved instinctively, riding her own hand, chasing something she'd never experienced, but desperately needed. Her mind desperate for focus beyond the physical sensations, cast around for an anchor. Travis appeared in her thoughts first, but the memory of his disgust killed any arousal. Her mind reached for something else and landed on a memory 3 years old but still crystal clear. AlphaKing Cole Steelheart visiting Shadowpine Pack on official business. Kate had been only 20, still believed Travis was her future. But she'd seen Cole Steelheart walk through Pack headquarters like he owned the ground beneath his feet, and something in her chest had responded in a way it never had to Travis. Cole had been magnificent, not handsome in the conventional sense. His face was too hard for that, marked by scars suggesting a violent past, but compelling in a way that it made you unable to look anywhere else. He moved like a special forces operator, every step precise and deliberate. His hair was dark, pulled back in a style that only made him look more dangerous. And his eyes silver like moonlight, like metal, like something that could cut through you and see everything you were trying to hide. Those eyes had landed on Kate for exactly 3 seconds. His gaze had swept over her, paused, held. In those 3 seconds, Kate had felt naked, seen evaluated in some way she didn't understand. Then he'd moved on, and she'd told herself she'd imagined it. But now, 3 years later, in desperate, Kate's mind conjured that memory and built on it. She imagined Cole Steelheart watching her, those pale irises tracking every movement of her hand, imagined his voice rough like gravel being dragged over metal, telling her what to do. Alpha. The word escaped her lips as a moan. Her fingers pumped faster, her thumb finding her pearl and circling with increasing pressure. Cole, please. She was begging, a fantasy, crying out for an AlphaKing who didn't know she existed. Her free hand clutched at the sheets, her back arching as her body climbed towards something she'd never experienced. Cole, oh goddess, Cole. The orgasm detonated through her. Kate's mouth opened in a silent scream, her body convulsing around her own fingers, waves of pleasure crashing through her nervous system with enough force to white out her vision. Then she heard it, the sound of wood splintering, of her carefully constructed barricade being forced aside like it was nothing. Kate's eyes flew open, her body still trembling, her hands still between her thighs. A figure filled the doorway silhouetted by moonlight. Massive, easily 6.5 feet tall with shoulders that barely fit through the frame. The scent hit her a second later, pine and snow, and something underneath that made her Omega nature want to submit immediately. The figure stepped into the cabin and moonlight illuminated his face. Cole Steelheart. The AlphaKing himself stood in her stolen shelter, silver eyes locked on her nearly naked form. Kate grabbed for the blanket trying to cover herself, her mind screaming that this couldn't be real. But then he spoke, and the voice was exactly as she remembered. "Were you calling my name Little Omega? Because I tracked that sound for 3 miles. Kate's mouth opened, but no sound came out. This was real. Somehow, impossibly, this was real. Cole kicked the door closed behind him, his gaze never leaving hers. "I think we need to talk about why an Omega I've never met was pleasuring herself while crying out for me." Kate's heat decided that moment to surge again, her body responding to the presence of an alpha with renewed desperation. Her thighs clenched together, trying to ease the ache already rebuilding. She could feel fresh wetness, her body preparing itself. Cole saw it all. Those moonlit eyes tracked every tremor, every unconscious movement. His jaw tightened, and Kate saw something dangerous flash across his features, hunger that should have terrified her. Instead, through the haze of heat and confusion, Kate felt something in her chest respond. Not fear, recognition. Like her soul had been waiting for this moment without knowing it. Cole took a step closer, his movements careful, like he was approaching something fragile. What are you? Kate's words came out fractured. "I felt a bond snap into place 3 days ago." Cole's voice was controlled, but Kate heard the strain underneath. "Nearly brought me to my knees in the middle of a war council. One second I was listening to territorial disputes, the next I was on the floor with my beta asking if I was having a heart attack." He moved closer. "I've waited 105 years for my mate, watched other wolves find their bonds, while I grew older and more certain I'd die alone. Then 3 days ago, I felt you." Kate's mind tried to process that through the heat haze. 3 days ago had been her rejection ceremony. The moment Travis had severed their incomplete bond, apparently the moon goddess had been forming a real one. "Spent 3 days tracking the pole," Cole continued. "Gathered information. Kate Donovan, age 23, Omega from Shadowpine Pack. Rejected by Travis Kendrick for being too inexperienced. Exiled by Alpha Brennan that same week. He knew everything. And I find you here, alone, in heat, moaning my name while touching yourself." Kate felt her face flush. She'd been caught in the most vulnerable moment of her life by the most powerful alpha on the continent. "I didn't ask you to come." Cole's expression shifted, something almost like amusement touching his features. "No, but the moon goddess did." He took another step, bringing him to the edge of the bed. "You were rejected for being inexperienced, for being a virgin, for not knowing how to satisfy an alpha's needs." Kate flinched. Cole's voice dropped lower, taking on an edge that made her entire body respond. "Travis Kendrick is a fucking idiot who doesn't recognize treasure when it's offered to him. You want to know why the moon goddess paired you with me, Kate?" He crouched beside the bed, bringing his face level with hers. "Because I don't want experienced. I want loyal. Uncorrupted by the games most wolves play. I want someone who hasn't learned to manipulate and scheme and use intimacy as currency. And most importantly, I want mine. I want to be the first, the only, the one who teaches you what your body needs. Travis rejected you for the same qualities that make you perfect for me." Kate's heart was hammering so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. The mate bond he was talking about, she could feel it now. A golden thread connecting her chest to his, humming with potential. This was what a real mate bond felt like. "I'm in heat," she forced the words out. "I can't think clearly. Can't make rational decisions right now." "I know." Cole's voice was gentle despite the hunger in his eyes. "Which is why I'm giving you a choice before your heat takes over completely." He stood, putting distance between them like it physically hurt. "You have 2 options. I can leave right now. Walk out that door, wait until your heat breaks, then come back and court you properly. Give you time to know me without biology interfering with your judgment. Kate's omega nature screamed in protest. Or I can stay, help you through your heat. But Kate, if I stay, you're mine. This isn't just helping a stranger. This is me claiming my mate. I won't complete the bond, won't mark you or knot you during heat, but I will help you. Will touch you the way you need, will bring you relief, will make sure you survive. He moved closer again. And when your heat breaks, when you're clear-headed again, we'll talk about forever, about what it means to be Alpha Queen, about the bond and everything that comes with accepting me. Kate's mind was fracturing under the assault of heat and need and impossible reality. The Alpha King was offering to help her through heat, was offering partnership instead of taking what he could claim by right of the mate bond. Why would the moon goddess pair me with you? I'm nobody, a rejected omega from a backwater pack. You're the Alpha King. Cole reached out slowly and cupped her face with one large hand. Because I'm tired of anyone. I've had a century of wolves wanting the crown, wanting the power, wanting everything except me. You didn't even know I was looking for a mate. You called my name because your heat-addled brain grabbed onto a memory of someone who made you feel safe for 3 seconds. That's it. That's all we were before the bond formed, and that's exactly what I needed. His thumb stroked across her cheekbone. Kate felt tears gathering, mixing with the heat and the pain and the desperate need. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been with anyone. I know, and that's not a flaw. That's a gift you're choosing to give me instead of something taken from you. The heat wave crashed over her again, stronger this time. Kate gasped, her body arching. Stay. The word came out as a plea. Help me. I choose that. I choose you helping me. Something fierce flashed across Cole's face, satisfaction and possession and carefully controlled hunger. Then I'm yours for as long as you need me. He reached for the hem of his shirt, pulled it over his head in one smooth motion. Kate's heat-addled vision focused on his torso muscle layered on muscle scars, telling stories of violence, survived a body built for combat and honed by a century of fighting. Cole climbed onto the bed beside her, moving carefully despite the hunger visible in every line of his body. The moment his skin made contact with hers, Kate felt the heat ease slightly. His scent wrapped around her pine and snow and that indefinable alpha musk, and her body shuddered with relief. Better, Cole's voice was rough, strained. Yes, your scent, your touch, it's helping. Good. His hand stroked down her arm, nothing overtly sexual, just connection and comfort. We're going to get through this together. You're not alone anymore. They lay like that for long minutes, Kate's body slowly calming, but she could feel it building again underneath the temporary relief. Kate shifted restlessly, her thighs pressing together. Cole noticed immediately. Tell me what you need. Kate's face burned with embarrassment, despite everything. I can't. It's building again, and I need... Cole shifted position, propping himself up on one elbow. You need to come again. Need the release to take the edge off. Kate nodded, unable to meet his eyes. His hand cupped her chin, forcing her to look at him. Don't be ashamed. This is biology. Your body needs this to survive the heat, and I'm going to give you what you need. His hand slid down her body with clear intent this time. When he reached the waistband of her underwear, he paused. May I remove these? Yes, please, yes. Cole peeled the damp fabric away. Kate was completely naked before him now, exposed in a way she'd never been for anyone. His eyes tracked over her with an expression that made her feel seen rather than exposed. You're beautiful. Perfect. Then his hand was between her thighs and Kate's mind went blank. His touch was nothing like her own clumsy exploration. His fingers knew exactly where to press, how hard, how fast. He found that bundle of nerves and circled it with maddening precision. That's it. Let me hear you. Let me know what feels good. His fingers slid lower, finding her entrance slick and ready. He pushed one thick finger inside, and Kate gasped. It was so different from her own touch. His finger was thicker, longer, reaching places she hadn't been able to reach. You're so tight, so perfect. When you're ready to let me claim you fully, it's going to feel incredible. He added a second finger, stretching her carefully. Kate whimpered at the sensation. Cole's thumb continued working her pearl, while his fingers pumped slowly, building a rhythm that had her hips moving instinctively. Please, I know what you need. Cole's fingers curled inside her, finding a spot that made stars explode behind her eyes. Come for me, Kate. Let me feel you fall apart. His thumb pressed harder, his fingers pumped faster, and Kate came with a cry that echoed through the cabin. The orgasm was even more intense than the first, her body clenching around his fingers, waves of pleasure crashing through her. Through it all, Cole held her. When the waves finally subsided, she found him watching her with pure male satisfaction. You are exquisite when you climax. I could watch that sight for eternity and never grow tired of it. The heat eased again, her body temporarily satisfied. Cole pulled her against his chest, let her breathe in his scent. Sleep now. I'll stay with you through the night. When the heat returns, I'll be here. You'll stay. Of course, you're my mate. Whether you accept the bond tonight or a year from now, that doesn't change. You're mine to protect, mine to care for. I'm not going anywhere. Kate buried her face against his chest, feeling safer than she had in weeks. Why me? Cole was quiet for a long moment, his hand stroking through her hair. Do you know what it's like to live for a century waiting, watching other wolves find their bonds while you grow older and more certain you'll never have that connection? I'd given up, accepted that I would rule alone, die alone. His arms tightened around her. Then 3 days ago, I felt you, not just the bond forming, I felt you. Your kindness, your gentle heart, your strength wrapped in softness. Everything Travis saw as weakness, I felt is exactly what I've been searching for. His silver eyes held hers. The moon goddess chose you because you're what I need. Not what I want or what I think I deserve, but what my soul has been crying out for across a century of loneliness. You're my completion, little Omega, my missing piece. Tears streamed down Kate's face. I was so sure I was worthless. That being rejected meant I wasn't good enough. Cole's thumb wiped away her tears. Travis's rejection had nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with his blindness. And I'm going to spend however long it takes proving it to you. You are worthy. You are wanted. You are treasured. Kate's eyes drifted closed, exhaustion pulling at her. Sleep, my Omega. I'll keep watch. You're safe now. Kate woke to sensation flooding through her body. The brief reprieve was over and her heat was roaring back. She was pressed against Cole's chest, could feel every inch of his powerful body, could feel his arousal hard against her stomach. Her body responded instinctively, hips rolling against him. Cole's eyes opened immediately, finding hers in the dim morning light. It's happening again. Kate's words came out as a whimper. I know. His voice was strained, rougher than before. I can smell your need. His hands slid down her body without preamble this time. 2 fingers pushed inside her, no gentle buildup, just immediate relief. But Cole's control was fraying. She could sense it through the bond growing stronger between them. His fingers pumped faster, harder, his thumb working her pearl with almost bruising pressure. You're so responsive, so perfect. The sounds you make are driving me insane. Do you have any idea how hard it is not to claim you right now? Kate's rational mind should have been concerned by the edge in his voice. But her heat didn't care about rational thought. Then why don't you? I want you. I want everything. Cole's hands stilled between her thighs. His entire body went rigid. No, not during your heat. Not when you're not fully yourself. When I claim you, when I make you mine, in every way I want you clear-headed and certain. I want you to remember every moment, every sensation. His fingers resumed their motion, pumping faster, curling to hit that spot inside her. But I will give you this. I'll give you pleasure until you can't remember your own name. Kate's body was climbing toward release again. Yes, Alpha, please, I'm so close. Come for me. Cole's voice dropped into that alpha command tone that compelled obedience. Come on, my fingers. Show me how beautiful you are when you shatter. The orgasm crashed through her like a tidal wave. She screamed his name, lost completely in sensation. When Kate came back to herself, trembling and gasping, she found him watching her with eyes gone completely silver. The beast was at the surface now, barely contained. She reached up to touch his face, feeling the tension in his jaw. You're struggling. Helping me is hurting you. Helping you could never hurt me. Yes, my alpha nature is demanding I claim you. Yes, holding back is the hardest thing I've ever done. But seeing you find pleasure knowing you trust me enough to be vulnerable, that's worth any amount of struggle. The pattern established itself over the next 30 hours. Heat would come in waves, Cole helping her through with his hands, and eventually his mouth bringing her to climax again and again. Between the waves they talked. Cole shared stories of his century of life, the wars he'd fought, the loneliness that had become his companion. Kate told him about growing up in a military family, her father's training, the dreams she'd had before Travis made her question everything. On the morning of the third day, Kate woke clear-headed for the first time. The fever had broken during the night. Cole was still beside her, his arm wrapped protectively around her waist. Looking at him miles, she could see the toll the past 3 days had taken. Shadows under his eyes, tension lines around his mouth even in rest. Holding back from claiming her had cost him dearly. Kate reached up to trace his jawline gently. Cole's eyes opened at her touch, silver gaze immediately focusing on her face. You're back. How do you feel? Clear, myself again, and grateful. You kept your promise. Cole's hand came up to cup her cheek. It wasn't killing me. Knowing you trusted me, getting to see you discover pleasure for the first time, that was a gift I'll treasure regardless of what you decide about our bond. Kate felt tears gathering. I've decided about the bond, about us. She felt Cole tense, preparing himself for possible rejection. I choose you, not because you helped me through my heat or because you're the AlphaKing. I choose you because of who you are, because you valued my innocence instead of scorning it, because you gave me control when I was vulnerable, because you see me as precious exactly as I am. Tears were flowing freely now. Travis rejected me for being too innocent, too inexperienced, too pure. But you've shown me those weren't flaws. They were exactly what you needed. He wanted someone to serve his ego. You want someone to share your soul. And I want that too. I want you, completely, forever. The smile that spread across Cole's face was radiant. Are you certain this isn't the heat talking? Kate leaned up to kiss him softly. I've never been more certain. Claim me. Make me yours. Show me what it means to be loved by my true mate. Something fierce and possessive flashed across Cole's face, the alpha finally unleashed after days of restraint. The kiss turned hungry immediately. Cole rolled them until he was above her, his body pressing her into the mattress. I'm going to make this perfect for you, going to worship every inch of you, and when I finally claim you, when I push inside your virgin body for the first time, I'm going to make sure you feel nothing but pleasure. His mouth descended on hers again, claiming her with possession that made her toes curl. Cole kissed his way down her throat, teeth grazing the spot where he would leave his mating mark. Not yet. That would come last. His mouth found her breast, closing around the hardened peak and sucking gently. Kate arched into the sensation, her fingers threading through his dark hair. He moved to her other breast, his hand replacing his mouth on the first. Cole kissed his way down her stomach, his large hands spreading her thighs wide. He settled between her legs and just looked at her for a long moment. You're so beautiful here, so pink and perfect. I spent 3 days touching you, but I haven't tasted you yet. Kate felt her face flush. Cole glanced up, meeting her eyes. Don't hide from me. There's nothing shameful about this. You're exquisite, and I want to worship you with my mouth. His smile was purely male satisfaction before he lowered his head and dragged his tongue through her folds. Kate cried out, her hips jerking involuntarily. His tongue was hot and wet, and so much more intense than his fingers. He licked her slowly, thoroughly. When his tongue found her pearl and circled it with perfect pressure, Kate thought she might die from the pleasure. Cole slid one finger inside her while his tongue continued working, then two, stretching her carefully. He curved his fingers to find that spot inside her that made stars explode behind her eyes. Come for me. Let me taste your pleasure. His mouth sealed over her pearl and sucked while his fingers pumped faster, and Kate shattered. He worked her through it, drawing out every last tremor before finally lifting his head. His face was wet with her arousal, and the sight made fresh heat pool in her belly. You taste like heaven. I could spend hours between your thighs and never grow tired of it. He kissed her deeply, and Kate could taste herself on his tongue. She reached between their bodies, finding his hard length straining against his pants. I want to touch you too. Cole's hand covered hers, stilling the movement. Next time. Right now, if you touch me, I'll lose what little control I have left. And I want to be inside you when I finally let go. He stripped off his remaining clothes and Kate got her first full look at him. Magnificent didn't begin to cover it. His arousal was indeed large, thick, and hard. Her nervousness increased, but so did her desire. Cole seemed to sense her nervousness. He moved slowly, settling his weight carefully between her thighs. I'll be gentle. If it hurts too much, if you need me to stop, just tell me. I trust you. Cole positioned himself at her entrance, the broad head of his length pressing against her slick opening. Then slowly giving her body time to adjust, he began to push inside. Kate gasped at the stretch, at the burning sensation of being opened wider than his fingers had prepared her for. Cole's jaw was clenched with the effort of moving slowly. Breathe, relax for me. Let your body accept me. Kate focused on breathing, on relaxing. Cole pushed deeper, inch by careful inch, until he reached the barrier of her virginity. He paused there, meeting her eyes. This will hurt for a moment. I'm sorry. I wish I could take this from you without pain. Kate reached up to cup his face. It's all right. I want this. I want you to be my first. My only. Cole kissed her deeply as he thrust forward, breaking through her barrier in one smooth motion. Kate cried out into his mouth, genuine pain flaring. He held completely still, buried fully inside her, giving her body time to adjust. The pain faded slowly, replaced by overwhelming fullness. He was so deep inside her that she could feel him everywhere. The mate bond blazed between them, recognizing that they were finally joined completely. All right. Yes, you can move now. He pulled back slowly, then pushed back in, establishing a gentle rhythm. Each thrust sent sparks of pleasure mixing with lingering discomfort. Kate's body was learning to accommodate him. Cole shifted the angle of his thrust slightly, and suddenly he was hitting that spot inside her. Kate cried out, her nails digging into his shoulders. Her inner walls clenched around him rhythmically, and she felt him grow impossibly harder inside her. That's it. Come on, my length. Show me how good I make you feel. The orgasm was different from the others, deeper, more consuming. Through the mate bond, she could feel his pleasure mixing with hers, creating a feedback loop that amplified everything. Through it all, Cole kept moving, kept hitting that perfect spot. When she finally came back to herself, Cole was watching her with fierce satisfaction. He increased his pace, his control finally slipping. His thrusts became harder, deeper, more desperate. Kate wrapped her legs around his waist to pull him closer. She could feel him swelling inside her, feel the tension coiling through his body. Going to mark you now, going to claim you as mine in every way. Are you ready to be bound to me forever? Yes, please, Cole. Claim me. Make me yours. His teeth sank into the junction of her neck and shoulder at the exact moment his release hit. Kate felt him pulse inside her, filling her, while the mating mark sent fire through her veins. The pain of the bite mixed with the pleasure of his climax, and Kate came again, her body milking his length as the bond sealed permanently between them. When the intensity finally faded, they lay tangled together. Cole's mark throbbed on her neck, broadcasting to every wolf who saw her that she was claimed. He licked the wound, gently sealing it with his saliva. Mine. Yours, forever yours. They stayed like that for long minutes. Eventually, Cole rolled to his side, pulling Kate with him, so they remained joined. How do you feel? Complete. Like I finally found where I belong. Cole's arms tightened around her. The moon goddess works in mysterious ways. If Travis hadn't rejected you, you never would have left Shadowpine. I never would have found you. I should probably thank him for being such a fool. Kate laughed, the sound surprising her. What happens now? Cole's response was immediate and firm. Now you become my Luna, my queen. We return to my territory and I introduce you to our pack. Anyone who has a problem with your background will answer to me personally. Kate felt anxiety twist in her stomach. But I don't know how to be a queen. I wasn't raised for that. Neither did I when I first became king. But I learned, and you will too. I don't need you to be a perfect political strategist. I have advisors for that. What I need is someone with a kind heart who can see the wolves beneath the ranks. Someone who remembers what it's like to be vulnerable. Someone who will help me build a kingdom where no Omega ever has to go through what you went through. His thumb stroked across her cheek. Your supposed weaknesses, your innocence and softness and compassion, those are exactly what our kingdom needs. I've ruled with strength and strategy for a century, but I've been missing the heart. You'll bring that. Not because you're trying to be a perfect queen, but because you're being yourself. Kate took a deep breath, feeling courage building. All right, then let's do it. Let's go to your territory and show everyone that the rejected virgin is now their queen. Cole's smile was fierce with pride. That's my mate, brave and strong and perfect. They spent another hour in the cabin before leaving. Cole produced a clean shirt from somewhere that smelled like him and hung past Kate's thighs like a dress. He made a call on a satellite phone, his voice dropping into command mode. Doc, I'm about 6 hours north of the territory. I need you to prep the council. I'm bringing my mate home. Kate could hear a gravelly voice responding words she couldn't make out, but tone that sounded pleased. Yeah, she's perfect, strong as hell, and smart enough to keep me in line. We'll be there by nightfall, have the guest quarters prepared, and get Dr. Chen on standby. More conversation, then Cole's expression hardened. One more thing. Travis Kendrick from Shadowpine Pack has been spotted near our borders with a group of rogues. Put Hawk on it. I want to know what that bastard wants before we get there. Kate's blood ran cold at Travis's name. Cole ended the call and crossed to her immediately. He can't touch you. You're mine now, bonded and marked. Whatever he's planning, it ends badly for him. They left within the hour, Cole having produced a sleek black SUV from where it was hidden a quarter-mile away. The vehicle was bulletproof, he explained casually, with reinforced chassis and enough weapons hidden to outfit a small army. The drive gave Kate her first real look at Cole's world. He fielded calls from advisors, made decisions about territorial disputes with tactical precision. Her father would have appreciated and somehow still managed to keep one hand on her thigh, a constant reminder that she was his priority. They stopped at a checkpoint 2 hours from Northern Royal Pact territory. Armed guards materialized from the forest but relaxed immediately upon recognizing Cole's vehicle. The lead guard, a woman in her 50s with sergeant's stripes on her tactical vest, and approached with a crisp salute. Alpha, welcome back. This must be our new Luna. Kate drew herself up taller. Kate Donovan, soon to be Kate Steelheart. The guard's expression shifted to approval. Lieutenant Morrison, ma'am, head of border security. The pack's been buzzing since Doc announced you were coming. They passed through 2 more checkpoints before the territory truly opened up. Kate had expected something remote and primitive. Instead, she found herself looking at what could only be described as a small city built into the mountain. Modern buildings blended with natural rock formations, solar panels glinting on roofs, wind turbines spinning in the distance. Holy shit! Cole laughed, the sound rich and genuine. Not what you expected. I expected maybe a big lodge and some cabins. This is a fortress. It's a kingdom. 10,000 wolves call this territory home. We've got schools, hospitals, research facilities, manufacturing. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. The palace itself was built directly into the mountain stone and steel and glass, forming a structure that looked like it had grown naturally from the rock. Kate's nervousness returned full force. Cole, I'm not ready for this. His hand found hers, squeezed gently. You don't have to be ready today. You just have to be willing to learn. I've seen you survive 2 weeks alone in the wilderness. I've watched you endure heat without a pack. You're stronger than you think. The SUV pulled up to the main entrance where a small group waited. Kate recognized military bearing immediately. Older male 80s standing like a career soldier, younger male 50s hand resting near a weapon, Asian woman 60s medical bag at her feet. Cole came around to open her door, offering his hand. Kate took it and faced his inner circle with her spine straight and chin up. The older male stepped forward, first his weathered face breaking into a grin. So you're the one who finally caught the old man. Doc Sullivan, ma'am. Been his beta for 40 years and thought I'd die before seeing him mated. Kate shook his offered hand, feeling calluses that matched her father's. Kate Donovan. And from what Cole's told me, you're the one who kept him alive and sane all this time. Thank you for that. Doc's grin widened. She's got manners and tactical sense. I approve. The younger male moved forward next. James Morrison, head of security. Everyone calls me Hawk. My wife, Lieutenant Morrison, runs border. You met her at checkpoint. She seems formidable. She is, keeps me in line. Hawk's eyes held approval. The Asian woman was last. Dr. Sarah Chen, PAC physician. I'll need to examine you sometime. In the next 24 hours, your Alpha mentioned you just completed your first heat. Kate felt her face heat, but nodded. Of course, doctor. Dr. Chen's expression softened. You can call me Sarah, and welcome home, Luna. Cole's hand found the small of Kate's back. Where are we with the Travis situation? The casual atmosphere evaporated. Hawk's expression went hard. He's camped about a mile outside our southern border with 7 rogues. Sent a formal request for audience this morning. Says he's invoking challenge right under Article 47. Kate felt the blood drain from her face. Cole's voice went deadly calm. Explain it to Kate. Hawk turned to her. Challenge right is ancient law. If a wolf rejects a mate but later claims the rejection was made under false pretenses, they can challenge for that mate even after they bonded with someone else. Kate's stomach dropped. He can challenge Cole for me. If he can prove to a council that his rejection was made in error, yes, he can force formal combat. Winner takes the disputed mate. Rage flooded through Kate so suddenly it shocked her. She was not property to be won. That's the most archaic, patriarchal bullshit I've ever heard. Doc barked a laugh. She's not wrong. Cole's hand on her back was steady. It's old law from when packs were smaller and mate bonds rarer. The theory was that rejections sometimes happened in haste. The moon goddess already spoke. She paired me with you, not Travis. He rejected me publicly, humiliated me, got me exiled. Now he wants me back. Hawk and Doc exchanged glances. Doc spoke carefully. We've been gathering intelligence on Travis Kendrick. He's been exposed in Shadow Pine Pack embezzling funds, coercing young Omegas. Instead of facing consequences, he went rogue. Understanding hit Kate. He doesn't want me. He wants the credibility. If he challenges an AlphaKing and survives, he becomes legend. Smart girl. Hawk's approval was evident. That's exactly right. Cole's voice was still that deadly calm. Can I refuse the challenge? Not without appearing weak. Ancient laws is clear. Kate saw red. Some bastard who'd thrown her away thought he could demand her back, thought he could use her as a stepping stone to power. When does he want this challenge? Dawn tomorrow, the arena. Council will oversee. Then we have tonight to prepare. Kate turned to Cole. Show me the war room. I want to see everything you have on Travis, fighting style, weaknesses, patterns. The small group went still. Then Doc started laughing. Oh, I like her. I really like her. Cole's expression was pure pride. Told you she was perfect. The war room was exactly what Kate expected: wall-to-wall screens, tactical maps, real-time data feeds. Cole pulled up video footage of Travis from various sources. Kate watched with the analytical eye her father had trained into her cataloging patterns. 3 other wolves joined them, Stone Vega and O'Brien, older warriors with combat experience that showed in how they carried themselves. They treated Kate's presence as completely natural. Travis is younger, faster. Stone analyzed the footage. 28 versus 105 gives him edge in raw speed. But Cole's stronger, more experienced, Vega countered. Travis will fight dirty. O'Brien's voice was certain. Rogues don't follow honor codes. Kate had been studying the footage in silence. Finally, she spoke. He'll also be desperate. Look at his body language in the challenge declaration. She pointed to the screen. Shoulders tight.
You must
jaw
understand the
clenched,
gravity
eyes
of
darting.
this.
I can't
He's
do
terrified.
this.
You
This
have
whole
no
thing is a
choice.
Hail Mary. Everyone turned to look at her. Kate continued. Travis rejected me for his real lover, Vanessa Monroe. She's probably here with him. That's his real weakness. Hawk leaned forward. You're saying if we threaten her? No, we don't actually threaten her, but we watch where his eyes go during the fight. When he glances at her, and he will, that's when Cole strikes. The room went silent. Then Doc started laughing again. Your mate just ran circles around our tactical analysis, Cole. Vega was nodding slowly. So we let Travis think he has the speed advantage. Cole plays defensive early, maybe feints exhaustion. Travis overcommits, trying for the quick win. Cole ends it, Kate finished. Fast, brutal, humiliating. O'Brien was studying Kate with new interest. Alpha, your Luna has a gift for tactical planning. They spent another 2 hours planning. By the time they finished, Kate's nervousness had transformed into something harder. Travis had used her, humiliated her, tried to destroy her. Now he wanted to use her again. She was going to help Cole crush him. Cole showed her to their chambers, a massive suite with floor-to-ceiling windows and a bed that could sleep 6 wolves comfortably. It's too much. Cole pulled her against his chest. It's yours. Everything I have is yours now. Kate leaned into him. What if I can't do this? What if I'm not cut out for being Luna? You spent the last 2 hours teaching experienced warriors how to read an opponent's psychology. You identified Travis's weakness faster than my entire tactical team. You're already better at this than you think. Kate turned in his arms. I'm scared. Not of tomorrow I know you'll win, but of everything after. Of being Luna to 10,000 wolves. Cole cupped her face gently. They'll respect you because you earn it, just like you earned Doc's respect by acknowledging what he's done for me. Like you earned Hawk's respect by understanding the tactical situation immediately. Kate wanted to believe him. Will you tell me about them, your inner circle? Cole led her to the couch by the window. Doc Sullivan is 80 years old, been my beta for 40 years. Former Army Ranger before his wolf blood manifested. He taught me everything about leadership, how to inspire loyalty instead of demanding obedience. Kate could hear the affection in Cole's voice. Hawk Morrison, 55 head of security, former Delta Force best tactical mind I've ever encountered. His mate, Lieutenant Morrison, runs border security. They're a formidable team. Dr. Sarah Chen is 60, human raised until her 20s, went to medical school, then had her wolf blood activate. Brings human medical knowledge combined with wolf healing. Cole continued describing his advisors. These were good people, loyal and competent. They'd be evaluating whether she was worthy of standing beside him. A knock interrupted. Dr. Chen entered with her medical bag. I know it's late, but I'd rather do the examination tonight. Cole stood. I'll give you privacy. You can stay. Kate's voice was quick. If that's okay with Dr. Chen. He's my mate. I want him here. Dr. Chen smiled. Of course, alpha biology helps omega healing. The examination was thorough but not uncomfortable. Dr. Chen checked Kate's healing, confirmed the mating mark was forming properly, took blood samples. Everything looks good. The mark is healing beautifully. Your hormone levels are stabilizing. Your alpha took excellent care of you. Kate felt her face heat slightly. He did. He was incredibly gentle and respectful. Dr. Chen's expression softened. That's the measure of a good mate. Power under control, strength used to protect rather than dominate. You chose well, Alpha. After Dr. Chen left, Kate found herself exhausted. Cole guided her to the bathroom, roughly the size of her old bedroom, featuring both a soaking tub and a shower big enough for 6 people. Too much, Kate nodded. Way too much. Cole's arms came around her, then we'll make it ours. Break it in properly until it feels like home. He started the shower, adjusted the temperature, then helped Kate strip. They showered together, Cole's hands gentle as he washed her hair. Kate let herself lean into him, let the hot water ease the tension from her muscles. By the time they made it to bed, Kate could barely keep her eyes open. Cole pulled her against his chest. Sleep. Tomorrow we deal with Travis. Tonight you rest. Kate was already drifting off. Cole, thank you for finding me, for choosing me. His arms tightened. You do matter. More than you know. Sleep, my omega. I've got you. Kate woke to pre-dawn light and Cole's body wrapped around hers. For a moment, she just lay there feeling the mate bond hum. Then memory returned Travis to challenge the arena. Cole's eyes opened immediately. Morning, how are you feeling? Nervous, angry, ready for this to be over. He pulled her closer. It will be. By noon today, Travis will be nothing but a bad memory. They dressed in silence. Kate pulled on tactical clothing. Cole had acquired reinforced pants, fitted shirt boots with good traction. Cole dressed similarly, all black, moving with lethal grace. Breakfast was in the main dining hall with his inner circle. The conversation was subdued, professional. Travis arrived at the arena an hour ago. Hawk was reading from a tablet. 7 rogues with him, plus Vanessa Monroe, as you predicted, Luna. Kate absorbed that. Vanessa would be Travis's weak point. Council is assembled. Yes, they're ready to oversee per ancient law. Doc leaned forward. You don't have to do this, Cole. We can find a legal loophole. No, if I refuse or dodge this, every ambitious bastard with a grudge will think they can challenge me. This ends today publicly with no room for doubt. The arena was ancient, a stone circle carved into the mountain with tiered seating that could hold thousands. It was already packed. The crowd went silent as Cole entered, then erupted into cheers. Kate was escorted to a throne beside where Cole would sit, the Luna's throne carved from black marble. To her right sat an elderly female wolf in formal robes. The woman's expression was cool and assessing. Travis entered from the opposite side. He looked rougher, thinner, meaner, desperate. His 7 rogues flanked him. And there, partially hidden, was Vanessa Monroe. She looked different than Kate remembered, harder, more brittle. A council member, elderly male with carrying voice, began speaking. We are gathered under ancient law to witness a challenge right. Travis Kendrick claims his rejection of Kate Donovan was made in error. He invokes his right to challenge for her, despite her subsequent bonding with AlphaKing Cole Steelheart. The crowd murmured. AlphaKing Cole, do you accept this challenge? Cole stood. I accept. Combat to submission or death as ancient law demands. Travis stepped forward. I was young and foolish when I rejected Kate. I didn't understand what I was throwing away. Cole's voice cut through the arena like a blade. You rejected her because you wanted Vanessa Monroe. You rejected her, publicly humiliated her, got her exiled. Now that your crimes have been exposed and you've lost everything, you want her back as a trophy. This has nothing to do with correcting mistakes and everything to do with your ego. Travis's face flushed with rage. You don't know. I know exactly what this is, and I'm going to enjoy destroying you for it. The council member raised his hand. The challenge is accepted. Combatants, take your positions. Both alphas moved to opposite sides. Kate's heart was hammering, but she kept her face calm. Through their emotion, she sent waves of confidence to Cole. He glanced at her once, and she saw his expression soften before going cold again. The council member's voice rang out. Begin. Travis shifted to wolf form. First gray fur, lean muscles, younger and faster. Cole followed his black wolf, massive and scarred, a century of battles written into every line. They circled, testing distance. Travis lunged first, going for speed. His teeth snapped at Cole's throat but found only air as Cole dodged with economy of motion. Travis pressed the attack, forcing Cole back. The crowd was roaring, but Kate barely heard them. Her eyes were locked on the fight, watching Travis's patterns emerge. Right side dominant gap in defense when he committed micro-expressions, telegraphing intentions. Travis landed the first hit, claws raking across Cole's shoulder. The crowd gasped. Travis grinned, pressing harder. But Kate could see what the crowd couldn't. Cole wasn't struggling, he was baiting. His movements were controlled, giving ground strategically while conserving energy. Travis went for another strike, overcommitting slightly. Cole's counter was lightning fast, catching Travis mid-leap and slamming him into the ground. Travis's ribs shattered audibly. The gray wolf yelped, scrambling away. The crowd's roar intensified. Travis recovered faster than expected, desperation lending him strength. He circled again, more cautious now. They clashed again, a blur of fur and fangs. Travis fought with the frenzy of someone outmatched. Cole's left foreleg took damage, his flank opened. But every hit Travis landed, Cole returned threefold. Kate's hands gripped the throne's armrests. Through their bond, she could feel Cole's absolute control, his tactical mind working even in violence. Then it happened. Exactly as Kate had predicted. Travis, bloodied and desperate, glanced toward where Vanessa stood. Just a fraction of a second, seeking reassurance. Cole saw it. Kate saw him see it. The black wolf moved like death. One moment Travis was looking at Vanessa, the next Cole's jaws were locked around his throat. Not crushing, not yet, but positioned for a killing bite. Travis froze completely. The arena went silent. Cole's eyes found Kate's across the distance. Through their bond, she felt the question. He could end this now. One bite, and Travis would be dead. But that would make them no different than Travis. Kate stood from the Luna's throne. She walked down from the platform, her steps measured, until she stood at the edge of the fighting circle. Technically, she was breaching protocol. But she was Luna, and ancient law hadn't been written with Luna rights in mind. The elderly councilwoman who'd been sitting beside her stood, voice sharp. Luna, you cannot. Kate turned to face her, then addressed the entire arena. I invoke Omega right of refusal. The murmur that went through the crowd suggested most wolves didn't know what that meant. An elderly male wolf stood from the council seats. Omega right of refusal hasn't been invoked in over 200 years. Kate kept her voice steady. Then it's time we remembered it. The law states that if an Omega can prove the original rejection was legally justified under pack law, any subsequent challenge for that Omega is void. The elderly councilman nodded slowly. That is correct. But the burden of proof lies with the Omega. Kate stepped fully into the arena, moving toward where Cole still held Travis's throat. Travis rejected me, publicly stating that my virginity and inexperience made me unworthy. He called my purity a failure rather than an honor. Her voice grew stronger. But pack law, our oldest laws, celebrates virgin Omegas. Our traditions value purity, honor those who wait for true mates. Travis's rejection violated the very foundations of pack culture. He rejected me for qualities our laws say should be treasured. She turned to face the council. His rejection was legally justified not because I was unworthy, but because he was. He rejected values our pack holds sacred. I am not property to be challenged for. I am a wolf with rights under ancient law, and I refuse to be treated as a prize in someone else's ego battle. The arena was dead silent. The elderly councilman spoke again. The Luna raises a valid point. If the rejection violated pack values, it cannot be called an error to be corrected. Another council member, younger female, stood. We should vote. Does the council agree that Travis Kendrick's rejection was legally justified under ancient law, therefore voiding his challenge right? One by one, council members stood and voted. 7 yes, 3 no, including the elderly councilwoman who'd objected to Kate entering the arena. The elderly councilman's voice rang out. The council has ruled. Travis Kendrick's challenge right is void. The combat ends immediately. Cole released Travis's throat. The gray wolf collapsed, shifting back to human form. He was naked, bloodied, gasping. Vanessa broke from the rogue group and ran to him, dropping to her knees with tears streaming. Travis looked up at Kate with pure hatred. You think you can reject me twice? You think you're better than me now that you're spreading your legs for the AlphaKing? Cole moved before Kate could respond, his human form suddenly between her and Travis. You speak to my mate like that again, and I'll forget about council rulings. I'll rip your throat out and deal with the consequences. Doc and Hawk had materialized with armed guards. Doc's voice was formal. Travis Kendrick, you challenged for a mate under false pretenses. You violated ancient law. You are hereby exiled from all pack territories for life. If you return, you will be executed immediately. Hawk stepped forward. Vanessa Monroe as co-conspirator and Travis Kendrick's true chosen mate, you are exiled with him. You have 24 hours to leave Northern Kingdom territory. Vanessa looked up, her face a mask of shock. Guards moved forward to escort them out. As they passed, Kate Travis tried to speak, but Cole's growl cut him off. Then the silence shattered into cheers. The crowd erupted. Kate had just rewritten ancient law, had stood in the arena, and defended herself with words rather than violence. The elderly councilwoman made her way down from the council seats. Up close, she was formidable, 70-something, silver hair pulled back severely. Luna Kate, that was highly irregular. Kate squared her shoulders. With respect, councilwoman, ancient law was written when Omegas were property. Times change. Laws should change with them. The woman's expression was unreadable. I am Councilwoman Margaret Sterling. I've served this pack for 50 years. I had different expectations for who our Luna would be. Kate could read between the lines. This woman had wanted someone else. I understand I'm not what you expected, but I'm who the moon goddess chose. I intend to earn my position through actions. Margaret's eyes narrowed. The pack will be watching you, scrutinizing every decision. I hope you're prepared. It wasn't quite a threat, but it wasn't friendly either. I welcome scrutiny. Transparency makes for better leadership. Margaret turned and walked away. Doc appeared at Kate's elbow. Don't worry about Margaret. She's bitter. Her daughter Victoria didn't catch Cole's eye. She'll come around or she won't. Kate filed that away. Margaret Sterling was going to be a problem, but one she could handle. Cole's hand found hers. Come on, let's get out of here. The next few days passed in a blur. Kate met hundreds of PAC members, toured facilities, sat in on council meetings. Doc took her under his wing, explaining PAC politics. Lieutenant Morrison taught her about territory defense. Dr. Chen introduced her to medical staff. 2 weeks after the challenge, Kate proposed her first major initiative to the council. I want to establish a formal sanctuary program for rejected and abused Omegas from any territory. No questions asked, full protection, comprehensive support, including housing, medical care, trauma counseling, and job training. Margaret Sterling's objection was immediate. We don't have the resources. The cost alone, Kate had anticipated this. I've reviewed our budget with Doc's help. We can reallocate funds from underutilized programs and supplement with a small tax increase on luxury goods. Dr. Chen's team has drafted medical protocols. Lieutenant Morrison has identified secure housing. The framework is ready. The silence felt heavy. Finally, Doc stood. I've reviewed Luna Kate's proposal. It's financially sound, strategically valuable, and morally necessary. I vote yes. One by one, other council members stood to vote. 9 yes to 3 no. Margaret and her 2 allies had voted against, but they'd been overruled. Kate felt something loosen in her chest. Her first major initiative, and it had passed. Within a week, the first Omegas began arriving. Kate met each one personally. One in particular caught her attention, a 19-year-old named Reese, who arrived barely speaking, traumatized into near silence. Kate sat with Reese for hours that first day, not pushing, just presence. Finally, Reese spoke. He said I was worthless, that I should be grateful anyone wanted me at all. Kate's hands clenched into fists. Who said that? Travis Kendrick, back in Shadow Pine, before you. I was 17. He was beta, had authority. He said if I refused him, he'd make sure my family lost everything. White-hot rage flooded through Kate. Travis hadn't just rejected her. He'd been systematically abusing young Omegas for years. He can't hurt you here. You're under my protection now. Every Omega who comes here gets the same. Safety, respect, the chance to heal. Reese's eyes filled with tears. Why would you help someone like me? Kate took the young woman's hand gently. Because someone helped me when I needed it most. Because I know what it's like to be told you're worthless. Because you deserve better. Over the following weeks, more Omegas arrived. 12, then 30, then 50. Kate worked with Dr. Chen to establish trauma counseling. She convinced Hawk to teach self-defense classes. She watched Reese slowly emerge from her shell, saw other damaged wolves begin to heal. 3 months after the challenge, Kate was in the gardens with young Omegas, teaching them about heat cycles when Doc found her. Travis Kendrick is dead, found in neutral territory 2 days ago. Tried to attack a traveling Omega, her mate killed him in self-defense. Kate absorbed the information without emotion. Good, the world's better off. Doc's weathered face showed approval. Spoken like someone who understands some wolves don't deserve mercy. That evening, Kate sat in the study with Cole reviewing expansion plans. Her hand rested absently on her stomach, a gesture she'd been making more frequently without realizing it. Cole noticed. His silver eyes tracked the movement. How long have you known? Kate's mind caught up. Known what? That you're pregnant. I can smell the change in your scent. Have been able to for about a week. Kate's hand pressed more firmly against her stomach. Are you sure? Cole crossed to her, kneeling beside her chair and placing his hand over hers. I'm sure. We'll have Dr. Chen confirm tomorrow. But Kate, we're having a pup. Tears started streaming down Kate's face before she could stop them. I'm scared. What if I'm not ready? Cole's arms came around her. You're the strongest person I know. You survived rejection, exile, heat alone. You became Luna and revolutionized how we treat vulnerable PAC members in 3 months. You're going to be an amazing mother. Kate buried her face against his chest. What if something goes wrong? Dr. Chen said pregnancy with an AlphaKing's child is difficult. Then we'll face it together, like we face everything. This is a gift, our gift. Dr. Chen confirmed the pregnancy the next morning. Kate was approximately 6 weeks along. The doctor's expression was professionally neutral. Pregnancies with AlphaKing genetics are more difficult than average. The pup will be stronger, will demand more from your body. You'll need close monitoring, especially in later months. Cole's hand found Kate's. What are the risks? Dr. Chen didn't sugarcoat it. Fatigue, severe morning sickness, possible complications with the pup's strength draining the mother's resources. In extreme cases, the choice becomes saving the mother or saving the pup. Kate felt cold fear settle into her bones, but she also felt determination. We'll handle whatever comes. Together. The pregnancy was announced formally 2 weeks later. The response was overwhelming gifts arriving daily pack members offering congratulations. This would be the first royal pup born in Northern Kingdom in over a century. Margaret Sterling requested a private audience with Kate in the 4th month. Kate agreed, curious. Margaret arrived in formal robes. Luna, Kate, I wanted to speak with you about the sanctuary program. Kate braced for criticism. Instead, Margaret said something unexpected. It's working, better than I thought possible. The rescued Omegas are becoming productive pack members, morale is higher, and other packs are asking to model similar programs. I was wrong to vote against it. Kate blinked, stunned. I thank you for saying that. Margaret's expression softened slightly. I had different expectations for who would be Luna. My daughter Victoria has been trained for years. When Cole chose you instead, I was angry. Kate remained silent, letting Margaret speak. But I was wrong. Victoria would have been competent. You're transformative. You don't just maintain what exists, you improve it, revolutionize it. That's what true leadership looks like. Kate felt tears threaten. I'm just doing what feels right, helping people who need help. Margaret stood preparing to leave, but paused at the door. That's exactly why you're the right Luna. You lead from experience and compassion, not theory and tradition. After Margaret left, Kate sat in stunned silence. She'd just won over her biggest political opponent. The 7th month of pregnancy hit Kate hard. The pup was strong, too strong, and Kate's energy levels plummeted. Dr. Chen became a constant presence. Cole barely left her side, having delegated more to Doc in the council. One morning in the 8th month, Kate collapsed during breakfast. Cole caught her before she hit the floor, his face going white. Dr. Chen arrived within minutes. The pup is too strong, draining Kate's life force faster than her body can replenish. If we induce labor now, the pup might not survive. If we wait, Kate might not survive. Cole's face went blank. There has to be another option. There isn't. You need to choose. Save your mate or save your pup. Kate, weak but conscious, reached for Cole's hand. Save the pup. If you have to choose, save our daughter. Cole's expression shattered. No, I'm not losing you. I can't. Kate squeezed his hand. You'll have our daughter. She'll be everything we are. Please, promise me. Cole looked like he was dying. There has to be another way. Reese, who'd been standing in the doorway, spoke up quietly. There might be. In the old texts, about Omega circles, sharing life force. Dr. Chen turned sharply. That's ancient magic. Dangerous for the donors. Reese stepped forward. It works. My grandmother saved a mother that way once. 5 Omegas forming a circle, channeling their strength. Hope flared in Cole's eyes. Would you, yes. Reese didn't let him finish. Luna, Kate saved me. She saved all of us. If we can save her now, we will. Within hours, 5 Omegas from the sanctuary had volunteered. Dr. Chen researched the ritual frantically. They performed it that night. 5 Omegas forming a circle around Kate's bed, hands joined chanting in an ancient dialect. Kate felt their life force flowing into her, warmth and strength and love given freely. The pup stabilized. Kate's vitals improved. But the cost was severe. All 5 Omegas collapsed afterward, barely breathing. Dr. Chen and her team worked through the night. By morning, all 5 were alive but weak, facing weeks of recovery. Reese woke first. Is Luna, Kate okay? Cole, sitting vigil by Kate's bed, had tears streaming down his face. She's stable? The pup is stable? You saved them both. Reese smiled weakly. Good. She showed us we could be more than our trauma. Now we're lifesavers. Labor began naturally 3 days later. 17 hours of intense, brutal work. Kate screamed, cried, nearly gave up a dozen times. But Cole stayed beside her, holding her hand, refusing to let her quit. Dr. Chen's voice cut through the pain. One more push. Give me everything you have. Kate bore down with every ounce of strength left. The pup emerged with a lusty cry. She's beautiful. 10 fingers, 10 toes, and lungs that could wake the dead. She's perfect. They placed the baby in Kate's arms, tiny, wrinkled, with a shock of dark hair like Cole's. Kate sobbed, overwhelmed by love so intense it physically hurt. Cole was crying openly, touching their daughter's tiny hand. "She's perfect. You're perfect. You did it." Kate looked up at him through tears. "We did it. All of us. Family isn't just blood. It's everyone who shows up when you need them." They named her Grace, because she was the Grace they didn't know they needed. The official coronation happened when Grace was 3 months old. Kate wore formal robes, carried her daughter, and dressed 10,000 pack members, with Cole beside her. When Travis Kendrick rejected me, he called me weak, too innocent, too inexperienced, too soft. Her voice carried across the gathering. He was right, I was inexperienced, but he was wrong about what that meant. Inexperience isn't weakness, it's potential. I learned, I adapted, I conquered. The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. This kingdom will be a place where strength is defined by character, not violence. Where omegas are protected, not controlled. Where young wolves learn that honor matters more than power. That's the legacy I'm building. For Grace, for all our children, for every wolf who's been told they're not enough. The crowd erupted into cheers. Kate held Grace close, feeling Cole's pride through their hand and seeing the faces of the omegas she'd saved in the front row. Jordan appeared during the reception carrying gifts from their father. Kate hadn't seen her sister in 9 months, and the reunion was tearful. Jordan was taller, more confident. Dad wanted to come, but Alpha Brennan wouldn't let him leave territory. He's proud, though. Sent this. A letter, her father's precise handwriting. Kate read it through, but tears his pride, his love, his certainty she'd become someone extraordinary. He knows about Grace. He does. Says she's got good genes. Marine grandfather and AlphaKing father. Can't go wrong. Kate laughed through tears. Margaret Sterling stood in the front row during coronation, not in council robes, but simpler dress. After the ceremony, she approached Kate privately. "I was wrong about you. Not just about the sanctuary program, about everything. My daughter Victoria found her own path, her own mate. She's happy, and I realize now that trying to force fate only causes pain." She extended her hand formally. "You've earned my respect, Luna, not through political games, but through genuine care for this pack. That's rarer than you know." Kate shook her hand. "Thank you, Margaret. That means more than you know." "Call me Margaret. We're on the same side now." The 5 omegas who'd saved Kate's life stood together during coronation, fully recovered after 3 months. Reese had transformed, completely confident, strong training to become a healer under Dr. Chen's guidance. After the ceremony, they presented Kate with a hand-woven tapestry depicting her journey: rejection, survival, claiming coronation. Each omega had contributed. "You saved us," Reese said simply. "This is us saying thank you, and promising to pay it forward. Every omega who comes after will be taught they're worth saving too." Kate accepted the tapestry with trembling hands, overwhelmed by the tangible proof of what they'd built together. That night, Kate stood in Grace's nursery watching her daughter sleep. Cole appeared behind her arms, wrapping around her waist, chin resting on her shoulder. "Thinking about what comes next?" Kate nodded. "We've built something good here, but there's more to do. Other territories still treat omegas like property. Other Travises out there herding young wolves. Then we'll change it. One territory at a time, one omega at a time." Cole's voice was certain. "We've got Grace to raise, a kingdom to run, and a revolution to lead. Should keep us busy." Kate laughed, leaning back against him. "Just busy. Terrifyingly busy. But we've got each other. We've got family blood and chosen. We've got purpose. What more do we need?" Kate looked down at Grace, at the mate mark on her wrist, catching moonlight, at the territory spread below their window. She'd been rejected for being too innocent, too inexperienced, too soft. Those supposed flaws had become her greatest strengths. "Nothing. We don't need anything else. We're complete." Grace stirred in her sleep, tiny fist curling around air. Kate reached down to stroke her daughter's dark hair, feeling Cole's arms tighten around her. This was home. This was family. This was everything she'd never dared hope for when she walked away from Shadowpine with nothing but a backpack and broken dreams. The rejected virgin had found her AlphaKing. Together, they'd built a kingdom where innocence was cherished, vulnerability protected, and every wolf knew their worth regardless of past. The moon goddess had known exactly what she was doing, and Kate Steelheart, Luna Queen Mother, revolutionary, had finally found where she belonged. She thought about her journey sometimes in quiet moments like this. The public humiliation of rejection, the terrifying loneliness of exile, the desperate heat in an abandoned cabin. Cole breaking down the door and offering her choice when he could have taken everything. Every painful step had been necessary. Every moment of suffering had forged her into exactly who she needed to be. Travis had tried to destroy her, but he'd only revealed what was already there, the strength, the resilience, the compassion that would transform an entire kingdom. Kate pressed a kiss to Grace's forehead, breathing in that sweet baby scent that made her chest ache with fierce protectiveness. This little girl would never know rejection, would never be told her worth was tied to her experience or lack thereof, would grow up in a world where Omegas had rights and choices and voices that mattered. That was Kate's real legacy. Not just Grace, but every Omega who would come after. Every young wolf who would learn that character mattered more than power, that compassion was strength, that mercy took more courage than violence. Cole's phone buzzed. Always on, always reachable, the burden of leadership never fully lifted. He glanced at the screen, then smiled. Doc says the Sanctuary program just got approved for expansion into 3 neighboring territories. Other Alpha Kings are asking for our model. Kate felt satisfaction bloom warm in her chest. Good. The more territories that adopt it, the fewer Omegas who have to suffer. You're changing the world, Kate, one policy at a time. She turned in his arms, looking up at him. We're changing it. You could have chosen any Luna. You chose someone who understood suffering, who remembered what it felt like to be powerless. That was the moon goddess working through you. Cole's silver eyes softened. I didn't choose you, she did. I just had the good sense to recognize what I was being offered. Kate smiled, rising on her toes to kiss him softly. Then I guess we both got lucky. And they stood there for a long moment, wrapped in each other, watching Grace sleep. Outside the window, the territory stretched out below them, 10,000 wolves who trusted their leadership, who believed in the vision they were building. Tomorrow there would be more challenges, more political battles to fight more Omegas, to help more policies to implement. The work of revolution was never finished. But tonight, in this moment, Kate allowed herself to simply feel grateful. For the mate who tracked her across wilderness. For the daughter sleeping peacefully in her crib. For the family blood and chosen who'd supported her every step of the way. She'd been Kate Donovan, rejected Omega, worthless in the eyes of her former pack. Now she was Kate Steelheart, Alpha Queen, architect of change. And the best part, she'd earned every single title. Not through birthright or manipulation or political games. Through surviving. Through learning. Through choosing mercy over vengeance, compassion over cruelty, hope over despair. Travis had called her too innocent, too inexperienced, too soft. He'd meant it as an insult, proof of her inadequacy. He'd been wrong about everything. Those qualities weren't weaknesses. They were the foundations of everything good she'd built. The innocence that hadn't been corrupted by cynicism let her see possibilities others missed. The inexperience meant she wasn't trapped by the way things have always been done. The softness gave her empathy that made wolves want to follow rather than simply obey. Kate had been perfectly imperfect for the role the moon goddess had planned for her. And now, standing in her daughter's nursery with her mate's arms around her and her kingdom spread out below, Kate finally understood what her father had been trying to teach her all those years ago during those early morning runs. Strength wasn't about never falling down. It was about getting back up. Again and again and again, no matter how many times life knocked you flat, she'd fallen, hard, publicly, painfully, but she'd gotten back up. And in the process, she discovered she was strong enough to lift others up too. That was the real story. Not rejected virgin finds Alpha King, though that was part of it, but broken Omega finds her strength and uses it to break chains for everyone who comes after. Kate Steelheart had found where she belonged, and she was just getting started.